Have you ever seen someone lose everything because of a lie? What if a powerful CEO pointed at an innocent single father and publicly accused him of stealing her luxury car? What if the entire city believed her without question? And what if, less than 24 hours later, the tables turned so dramatically that her own bank accounts were frozen, her reputation shattered, and the truth exposed for everyone to see? Stay with me until the very end, because this story isn't just about money, power, or revenge. It's about how one false accusation nearly destroyed an honest man's life, and how the truth fought its way back into the light. And before we begin, if stories about justice, hope, and second chances inspire you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more unforgettable stories to life. The rain had been falling over the city since early morning. Gray clouds hung low above the towering office buildings, and the streets reflected the glow of traffic lights like mirrors. Most people hurried through the weather with their heads down, focused only on reaching their destinations. Daniel Carter wasn't one of them. The 36-year-old single father walked slowly across the parking lot of a shopping center, holding the hand of his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Life had not been easy for Daniel. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife, Emma, to a sudden illness. The loss had shattered him. For months he struggled simply to get out of bed. But every morning, one small voice gave him a reason to keep going. "Daddy, are you okay?" That voice belonged to Lily. The little girl had inherited her mother's bright smile and gentle heart. She was the reason Daniel fought through every difficult day. Together they built a simple life. Daniel worked as a mechanic at a local repair shop. The pay wasn't amazing, but it covered the rent, food, and Lily's school expenses. Every dollar mattered. Every hour mattered. Every sacrifice mattered. But despite the challenges, Daniel was proud of the life they had built together. Because it was honest. Because it was theirs. As they reached Daniel's aging blue sedan, Lily smiled. "Can we get hot chocolate on the way home?" Daniel laughed. "Only if you finish your homework tonight." "It's a deal." The two climbed into the car and prepared to leave. Neither of them knew that within the next hour, their lives would change forever. Across town, Victoria Langford stepped out of her black limousine. At 42 years old, Victoria was one of the most powerful businesswomen in the state. As CEO of Langford Holdings, she controlled a business empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. People feared her. Employees respected her. Competitors avoided her. Victoria had built her reputation on one principle. She never tolerated mistakes. Unfortunately, success had slowly transformed confidence into arrogance. Years of power had convinced her that she was always right. And that dangerous belief would soon cost her everything. Victoria entered an upscale shopping complex after attending a corporate luncheon. Her assistant followed close behind. 20 minutes later, they returned to the parking area. Victoria stopped walking. Her expression hardened. The parking space where her custom luxury vehicle had been parked was empty. The assistant froze. "Ma'am." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Where is my car?" Security guards were called immediately. Parking cameras were checked. Employees searched the property. But no one could locate the vehicle. Victoria's anger grew with every passing minute. Then a security guard approached. "Ma'am, we found footage of a blue sedan leaving the area around the same time." The guard pointed at a blurry screen. A blue car appeared briefly before exiting the lot. The image quality was terrible. No license plate was visible. No driver could be identified. But Victoria made a decision instantly. A terrible decision. "Find that car." The guard hesitated. "We don't know if it's connected." Victoria's voice became ice cold. "Find it." Less than an hour later, another security officer located a similar blue sedan parked outside a grocery store. It belonged to Daniel. The moment Victoria arrived, she spotted the aging vehicle. Her eyes locked onto it. Without evidence. Without investigation. Without asking questions. She convinced herself she had found the thief. Daniel was loading grocery bags into the trunk when he heard someone shouting. "You!" He turned. Victoria marched toward him surrounded by security personnel. People immediately stopped to watch. Daniel looked confused. "Can I help you?" Victoria pointed directly at him. "You stole my car." The words hit like thunder. Daniel blinked. "What?" "You heard me. I have no idea what you're talking about." Victoria laughed bitterly. "Of course you don't." The growing crowd began whispering. Phones appeared. People started recording. Daniel felt panic building in his chest. "Ma'am, you've made a mistake." "No." Victoria stepped closer. "You stole my vehicle." Daniel looked around desperately. "Listen, I was at the shopping center with my daughter." Victoria ignored him. Lily stood frozen beside the shopping cart. Fear filled her eyes. "Daddy?" Daniel immediately knelt beside her. "It's okay." But it wasn't okay. Not even close. Within minutes, police officers arrived. Victoria confidently repeated her accusation. The crowd watched eagerly. Daniel tried explaining. He described his movements. He offered receipts. He answered every question. But public opinion had already begun forming. People saw an ordinary mechanic and a billionaire CEO. Many automatically assumed the CEO was telling the truth. Daniel noticed the judgment in their eyes. The suspicion. The doubt. The condemnation. For the first time since losing his wife, he felt completely helpless. An officer eventually examined the available evidence. The conclusion was immediate. There wasn't enough proof. No stolen vehicle had been recovered. No direct connection existed. No evidence linked Daniel to any crime. Legally, he couldn't be arrested. Victoria looked furious. "This isn't over." Daniel stared at her. "I didn't do anything." Victoria walked away without another word. But the damage had already begun. By evening, videos from the confrontation had spread across social media. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. People debated Daniel's guilt without knowing a single fact. His photograph circulated everywhere. Headlines appeared. Mechanic accused of stealing CEO's luxury vehicle. The accusation alone became enough to ruin his reputation. Customers canceled appointments. Neighbors stared. Parents at Lily's school whispered. The next morning, Daniel arrived at work. His manager looked uncomfortable. "We need to talk." Daniel immediately understood. His stomach dropped. The manager sighed heavily. "I'm sorry." Daniel felt the world shifting beneath his feet. Because he already knew what was coming. And what happened next would push him to the darkest moment of his life. Meanwhile, across the city, Victoria woke up believing she had won. She had no idea that investigators had uncovered a piece of information that would trigger a chain reaction so devastating that by sunrise, her own financial accounts would be frozen. And when the truth finally emerged, the entire city would learn who the real victim had been all along. To be continued.